This video is sponsored by Skillshare, an online learning community that provides the most convenient and organized way to learn the skills you need to further your business or hobby. Hey guys, it's Max. Today we're taking a look at a lens that I was very excited for ever since the first announcement, and I was even more excited about when I saw the official price tag. I just got my overnight shipment pre-order from B&H. Now I do have the 24-105 here, the f4, which is a fantastic lens, and I also have a 24-70 2.8 G Master coming in the mail, which I don't own that lens because it's a little pricey, and we are gonna take this lens and put it head to head against that G Master lens. I know all of you guys are waiting for that. Now while I'm waiting in the mail, we're gonna do a first look. We're gonna go out and shoot with this and see what I think about it. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you're new, enables notifications so you guys don't miss out on that epic comparison. Let's pull this thing out. So what makes this thing special, and we'll see my first reactions here on camera, is I think the biggest thing is the price tag. It's $800, which is crazy. I was honestly expecting somewhere maybe the $1,200 range, and I would pay that much for this lens if it performs well. So it's surprising that they put it up for $799, and it's a 2.8 aperture lens, but it is not a 24-70 like you typically get. It's a 28-75, so a little bit longer on the long end. But what that allowed Tamron to do is make this baby this size right here. I don't know if the focus is picking it up there, but man, this thing, first impressions, it is lightweight. It does feel a little bit plasticky, and I don't know. Should have looked into that. I don't know if this is plastic or like a metal. Sometimes they have metal that's coated, but the zoom ring feels nice. It's not super smooth. Let's check it out compared to this. Yeah, it's not as smooth as this, but it's close. This one's not super smooth either on the Sony lens. And the focus ring, of course, it is electronic. That thing is super smooth. This is smoother on the Sony. I'll see that right away. But weight-wise, I did put a little cheat sheet here. 550 grams right here. The G Master 24-70 lens is 890. So it's not twice as light, but close. So that's impressive. Another thing is on the front element, we have a 67mm mount right there for your filters, so you guys can see the fact that it's a 28-75 allows it to have much smaller front element, where the Sony G Master is 82mm and this 24-105 is 77mm. So let's put this thing on. Enough talking, and I want to go head out and do some shooting, but before that I have to let you guys know about Skillshare. Skillshare offers creators more than 17,000 classes in videography, productivity, photography, and more. It's available on Android and iPhone with the ability to download any course for offline viewing, so stop wasting time playing Candy Crush and expand your skills with Skillshare. I'm currently watching the course Becoming a Speed Demon, Productivity and Automation Tricks to Have More Time by Jonathan Levi. Premium membership begins at around $10 a month, but for the first 199 people to sign up with the link in the video description, you can get 2 months of Skillshare for free. These spots typically go quite quickly, so make sure to take advantage of this great offer. Let's head out and do some shooting. Unfortunately, I don't have Vadim with me. He's out of town today, so I will do my best to record. That's why I am vlogging right now. But for those of you guys who want to vlog with the setup, at least you'll get to see what that looks like on the wide end being 28mm. What kind of field of view you get compared to 24mm, which is definitely easier to vlog with. Alright guys, so I'm here downtown Spokane, where I like to come and shoot often. It's really bright outside right now. So I am cranking the shutter because I couldn't find my 67mm ND filter. I have an ND on this guy right here. So I apologize for any stuttering. That is not due to the lens or the camera. That's just because I'm cranking up the shutter. So far, I really like this lens. There's a couple kind of downsides, a couple things I don't like. First off, just the build quality. It's not bad, but it doesn't compare to the Sony lenses, the G Masters or the Gs. Those definitely feel like they're using better materials. This lens does say that it's designed in Japan, but it is built in China, which may or may not mean anything, but it really does make sense for the price of $800. Now, the other thing that's really kind of bugging me is the zoom lever on this lens is in front of the focus ring. So that's something I really didn't pay attention to when I bought this lens, and I don't think it would have stopped me from buying it. I think the biggest issue is just that all my other lenses are the other way around, and if I'm going to be switching between different lenses and shooting and trying to zoom in and out, I'm going to be constantly hitting the focus ring instead of the zoom ring. So keep that in mind. That's another downside. Now let's test out the autofocus, and I have been using autofocus here while I'm vlogging. It seems to be doing a great job, and with this lens, it's native. You have all the autofocusing options. You have eye autofocus, you have all the different focusing points, so it should work as well and have all the capabilities of a native lens. So I took off my Rode Video Micro just so it'd be a little bit more balanced. It was a little top heavy, and let's see how this autofocusing performance does. So far, this thing looks like it's grabbing on quite well. I'm using the wide autofocusing mode, so the camera kind of selects what it wants to focus on, and typically these Sonys do a great job choosing what I want to be in focus. Of course, I can always switch to some different points. Let's go in here. One thing that's intriguing about this lens is the minimal focusing distance. It's listed at much closer than the Sony, so let's take a look right there. So that looks quite in focus. Of course, it's auto, and I am really close to this thing. Let's see how close I can get. Is that really in focus? I'm seeing part of it in focus. That is incredible. I'm like right up to the front element. Let me drop this down to f2.8, and I'm at 28 millimeters, so at the full width, and it is fairly wide. Let's move in closer here. Wow, that did great. And we have, so the ability to get this close, that's incredible, and get that blur is awesome. So I got this thing off the gimbal, and my first thought is, man, this thing feels great in the hand. It's much lighter than the 24-105. It's gonna be even more lighter than the 24-70, and it just feels really, really balanced on this A7 III. Second thought is, I keep grabbing this focus ring instead of the zoom ring. I want to zoom in, but it's just a habit, you know, with almost all the lenses being this way here. So let's check out the focusing here. I have the center point selected, and let's see how it does. And I don't know if it's just me, or is this thing not focusing properly. Let me zoom in a bit if I grab the right one. Okay, so that's weird. My focusing point is on the center, and it keeps focusing on these maple leaves. Let me try that bush in the background there. It's hunting. I wish I could show you guys what I'm seeing. It's focusing on like the foreground. So let me switch over to my flexible spot set to small, so I can be more precise. I am zoomed in all the way. Yeah, that's weird. I'm focusing on the tree, and it's focusing on the foreground, the leaves. Okay, the focus itself is quite fast, and right now I'm focusing right at the center, but it's not focusing there. Okay, yeah, this thing is not doing its job. Not good Tamron. Hopefully it's not a quality control issue. Hopefully it's just kind of like a dud. Okay, there you go. All right, bam. It's fast, it's accurate. I hope that's a one-time thing, and I will update you guys in a later video, maybe my comparison with the G Master. That was weird. It kept not focusing where I wanted to, not focusing where my point was, but focusing more on the foreground. I took the lens off, I put it back on, and now, just as quick as a native lens. Hopefully that was the only time that happens. Like I said, I will update you in my later comparisons if I ever have that happen again, but that definitely was weird. So playing around with it for a couple more minutes, this thing is not having any focusing issues whatsoever, and it's focusing extremely quickly. So hopefully I never have that again. Now let's see some close-up shots in macro. So basically closer than the actual framing in a 16:9 shot for YouTube. Let me stop down from 2.8 to maybe like a f5.6 is probably a little more normal for a shot like this. That looks sharper there. I went for a little bit further. So straight out around 8 inches. Probably be something like this. Let's see. So to wrap up my first look of the 28-75, I want to compare it to the 24-105 f4 Sony lens. I'm going to show you guys the difference in field of view, and then take a few photos of that tree so we can compare how these guys do in detail. And the last thing I want to check out is a distortion test, which is one thing I have heard that is not great about this lens. So let's take a few shots here, and you could definitely tell that you get more than the 24-105 at 28 millimeter, matching up with the wide end on this Tamron. Alright guys, so I'm back in the office and I had some time to take a look at the images, the video clips, and do some comparisons, and overall I have to say I am really impressed, especially when you consider the price point. There are some things I don't like about this lens. First off, the build quality, while it's not bad, it's definitely a step up above the previous Tamron lenses, which I've owned a few, but it does not match up to Sony's G lenses or the G Master lenses. You could definitely tell right away. Second is when you mate this to the camera, it is just really tight on here, and I want to ask you guys, if you bought one of these, is yours similar to that? All of my adapters for E-mount and my Sony lenses don't feel this way. I don't think there's going to be an issue. It's not super tight to where I feel like it's going to break, but it is a little bit off. Third thing I don't like is this zoom ring being up here. I just kept going back and trying to zoom over here. It does feel a little bit awkward having it be up here next to the element, the front element here in the hood. Hopefully I can get used to that. Hopefully it's not going to be a big deal when I'm switching between different lenses. That is unfortunate. I don't like that. And finally, that barrel distortion as well. You guys saw that. That did not look very good. It just reminds me of my Sony 20mm f2.8 lens for the crop bodies. That doesn't look great. That's roughly like a 30mm equivalent. So that's not a huge deal breaker though. Especially if you're shooting photos, you can fix that really easily. You will lose a little bit of that wide angle view when you do the corrections in photos. Looking at the side-by-side shots, this thing was actually sharper than the 24-105, which is already a very sharp lens. Both on the wide angle end, I was surprised, and on the telephoto at 75mm. Even at f2.8, it was sharper than the Sony at f4. I was not expecting that. I was expecting it to be softer at f2.8 and maybe match up or get close to f4. But then when we go to f4, it is definitely noticeably sharper than the Sony. So as far as sharpness, this thing does not disappoint. So overall, I would highly recommend this lens. No, it is not perfect, but for $799, and I hope they don't raise the price because of all the demand, it is really a fantastic value, and I would definitely choose this lens over the Sony G Master at $2,200. Not only to save the extra cash in my wallet, invested in another body, another lens, or somewhere cool to go out and actually shoot, but because of the weight and size of this thing. This is much more pleasing to shoot with. It's much more balanced compared to that massive G Master lens. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and enable notifications so you guys don't miss out on that video. Once again, a big thanks to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. You guys use that link, sign up for 2 free months to Skillshare, stop playing your Candy Crush or whatever else you guys are playing now on your phone, and learn some skills when you guys have some extra downtime. I definitely highly recommend it, and of course they're supporting our channel. This has been Max, and I will see you in the next video.